guys, Chris Davis, your video and feed producer here at 4playernetwork.com. I'm here with Shunsuke Fujita, the producer behind the latest Godzilla game. He's graciously allowed us to have an interview with him, and I appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I wanted to start off by asking about this newest title. There's been a ton of different interpretations of Godzilla games over the years. Everything from a side-scrolling beat-em-up to a real-time strategy game. But this new one is quite different from those. I was wondering if you could tell me why y'all decided to go in this direction in terms of gameplay.
For this Godzilla game, we wanted players to be able to become Godzilla. And when we thought about, okay, what does it mean to become Godzilla? You have to be able to smash through the city just like Godzilla would do. And we also wanted to show them that action just as they would see in the movies. And so if you play the game, you can tell, I'm become Godzilla, and more than that, I become Godzilla in the movies. And that's the feeling that we wanted to portray with the game. That's why the game plays how it does.
I was also wondering if you could just describe for everybody out here who's hadn't heard of this Godzilla game yet or didn't know much about it, just how exactly it plays and what modes are available.
Basically, this game is all about becoming Godzilla and smashing through the city and just having fun. As you play the game, in the main story mode for the game, it's called Destruction Mode, you will play through stages where you will have specific targets to take out in the stage, and you'll have to fight enemy kaiju monsters in the stages. But basically, as you go through the game, the main feature is just smashing through the city and having fun.
Back in December, I actually imported the PlayStation 3 version from Japan. So it was lots of fun. But I was wondering, the main destruction mode that was featured in there was a series of 20 stages that branched off at varying points that the player chose. Is that returning, and how is that going to work this time around?
So for the main story mode, Destruction Mode, there are two main differences. First off, for PS4, you can play as any of the kaiju in the game, not just Godzilla, which is huge. The roster has, it's more times that you can play the game and have fun. Also, for kaiju like Mothra and Mecha King Ghidorah and the other kaiju that are supposed to be protectors of humankind, there's actually a slightly different mode of play for them. Their mission is not to destroy the city, but to keep the destruction of the city down as much as possible while taking out other enemy kaiju who are trying to come and destroy the city.
So consistently between December, the original release of the game, and the upcoming release date, July 14th, you have been steadily increasing the monster roster. I believe you're up to 22 now. One of the questions from the subreddit was, are you going to be including monsters post-launch like Titanosaurus or other creatures like that? Maybe Orga from Godzilla 2000?
So there's not much that we can say. Actually, there's no plans for DLC right now. But outside of course, the pre-order bonus DLC, which we have, it's already been announced. It's a Hollywood Godzilla and movie mode, the special cinema mode camera. Also, this is just announced for E3. We have Godzilla 1964, which is the 1964 film Mothra vs. Godzilla. As far as new characters right now, for E3, we have Rodan and Anguirus, and of course the first Mechagodzilla announced newly for the E3 timing.
Another question I got from the community was the game is going to feature online three-way multiplayer battles. Is there going to be offline multiplayer or split-screen multiplayer possibly?
So there's no offline. The thing is, once if you made the game split screen, it would be tiny. So there's all kinds of things.
Another thing I wanted to ask about was the PlayStation 3 version that's coming out next month is going to be a digital release only, while the PS4 is going to be both digital and retail. Can you talk about the differences between each version?
PS4 のディスクとデジタルは何も変わらないです。同じものなんですけれども、PS3 と4は、もともと日本用に、PS3 去年出して、 今回の PS3 版はそれの、移植で、海外の皆さんに楽しんでいただくために PS4 で作り直しているので、かなりゲームの内容は違ってます。さっきお話したゴジラ以外の怪獣での操作ですとか、オンライン対戦とか、かなり PS4 でパワーアップしてます。
So, yeah, there's no, in terms of the PS4 version, there's no difference between the disc and the digital versions. Um, in terms of the PS3 version that we're selling, that's a port of the Japanese PS3 version. It's pretty much the same. So you've played the game.
Yes, sir. 去年の60周年のために日本の60周年のために PS3 を作った。で、海外に持ってくるにあたって、より楽しんでいただくために作り直している。
はい、大丈夫です。はい。So yeah, I mean, originally the game was set for publishing in Japan, and that's based on the 60th anniversary of Godzilla. And so if you play the game, it's not directly related to the recent Hollywood film. It's more related to the older Godzilla for the 60th anniversary. And so we had that game. Then we made the PS4 version mainly, although it's also being sold in Japan under a different name. It's mainly for bringing the Godzilla to foreign audiences, and the game has been upgraded, overhauled extensively for PS4. And in the overhaul, there are different things. Like I said a moment ago, you can play as any of the kaiju. There's also the protection mode for the kaiju that what they do is protect, and then online mode. Also, 3 kaiju on the same at a time playing. Different things. The graphics have of course been updated. Everything.
Yeah, I think one of the best improvements that I saw during the demonstration was the 60 frames per second that y'all were able to achieve with the PlayStation 4 version. So that's great. I just had 2 more questions. The first one I wanted to ask was, so my favorite era of the Godzilla films was the Heisei era from 1985 to 1995. And one of the best parts about it was that Godzilla was more of a horror figure. He wasn't the hero that he was during the Showa era. And they solidified that by having him be a much more brutal creature. Like in the 1991 film versus King Ghidorah, he blew off King Ghidorah's central head, or in Space Godzilla, they destroyed his shoulders. I'm wondering if that amount of character deformation is in the game or not.
そうですね。そもそも今回のゴジラは平成のゴジラなのでがメインなので、そういったイメージでは作ってるんですけども、残念ながらすごくさっき言ったキングギドラとかスペースゴジラの型が壊れたりっていうのは入ってないんですよ。がっつり入れ込もうとは最初してなかったので、ただ、開発スタッフが頑張って知らない間に入れてたのとして、メカゴジラのこれは平成じゃないですけれども、メカゴジラの首取れるんですよ。メカゴジラ2のとかガイガンの首が取れたりっていうその全部じゃないけどスタッフのこだわりとして、小ネタとして入ってる部分があるので、そういったのをちょっと楽しんでもらえると、質問の意図とは違うのは分かってるけれども、そういったところはスタッフがちょっと遊び心で入れてます。
Specifically, the 2 creatures that you talked about a moment ago, you can't take off parts from them when you meet them. But for instance, just because this dev company, Natsume Atari, they love the Godzilla contents. They're really just they're really crazy, and so 本当にクレイジーなねファンも they're really into this content. So he didn't actually know about this before they started. He went to their offices and they said, "Oh, we've got this cool new thing already running in the game. Take a look." And in the films, for instance, Mecha Godzilla 2, there is a scene where his head gets blown off, right? So they put that in the game.
Mhm.
Also, Gaigan, you can take off his head. Like
That's
but
awesome.
It's awesome. So like you can really tell that this company Natsume Atari they really work together with us very closely.
It seems very true to the films.
Yes.
My final question I had for you. You've already admitted that you're a huge Godzilla fan. I was wondering if you could tell our audience, what's your favorite film of the franchise?
一番好きな
あーこういつも言われた時に困っちゃうんだけど、まあ、どれも好きすぎてそうですね一番最初のゴジラが1954年の初代ゴジラがすごく作品として傑作だとは思ってるんですけども、やっぱりその最初に見たゴジラゴジラ VS ビオランテ、あれが最初に見た映画っていうのもあって、でこのゴジラのその強いイメージをつけてもらったこともあって、すごくそれが印象に残ってて好きな映画です。
It's always difficult to choose because all of the Godzilla films are just so wonderful, and he really loves all of the films. But of course, the 2014 Hollywood film was also a great film. But his very first experience with the Godzilla was Godzilla vs. Violante.
It's a great film.
It's a great film, and so that's still his favorite. It's the one that's really stuck in his mind the most. So that's where he came from.
Well, that's great to know. Well, thank you very much for your time. We appreciate it. And yeah, Godzilla for the PS4 and the PS3 comes out on July 14th. Keep it locked here to 4playernetwork.com for more news about Godzilla, and check us out. Thanks.
Thanks.